As we head to game number 2, are there any changes that you want to see either team really make?
Well, TMNT picking the Odin really early on didn't work out for them up until the later stages, once their levels started catching up with them. Once the Poseidon got a little more levels, a little more items, that's when he started being able to synergize very efficiently with that Nemesis ultimate.
Right away.
And Quantum Esports want nothing to do with it. They thought that they could deal with it by having the Phantom early on in their Sylvanus, but it just wasn't enough because the cooldown is just too long to deal with the Odin ultimate. Yeah,
it's basically 2 cages for 1 Phantom for the most part, and in that situation, honestly, Quantum Esports were able to handle the situation nice and early, but it was all because of an ISIS selection, if you ask me. If I'm TMNT for Lyfe, I know that they banned out the Zeus. I'm kind of feeling this ISIS ban a little bit more. I mean, what happened in the turnaround here in the late game for TMNT for Lyfe? I don't know if you can depend on that replication every time you come out. So if I'm Quantum, I'm saying, hey man, listen, we had the lead for so long in this game. I just want to give Sirduckbot the ISIS one more time.
Well, honestly, without the Odin, TMNT are not deterred at all. They're going to take the Cabrakan instead. They're going to be able to still synergize very effectively here with this Poseidon. So Quantum are holding off on their mid pick for now. They're going to elect to go for this global pressure ultimate from Apollo. Allow him to just sit in the lane, 1v1, making sure that Welshbeastq is not going to get too far ahead.
The Nemesis will be the selection one more time for Auzrik, most likely in the jungle. Although I guess you can flop Nemesis a little bit, but not too much these days.
It's been a while.
And really, that's what I was starting to talk about in that game, and while we hit the second round of bans, where has Nemesis gone in a world where there are so many tanks on the map?
Honestly, there's just been so many options from the jungle, especially in Season 4, where you're not necessarily starting in the solo lane any longer. A lot of junglers will like to do that previously in Season 3 and 2, but in Season 4, we see support starting in the mid lane, and sometimes some junglers, specifically out of Eager, will see DJ Pernicus starting in the dual lane, and that's always definitely a surprising factor. So Nemesis is always a great pick when you're dealing with these very tanky frontliners, especially ones that can't get away like Sylvanus.
So with the Nemesis, the TMNT for Lyfe will put more tanks on their side. Terra's the selection for TMNT. As we look across the way, Hyperionnn, Batz, and Janus the selection for Quantum. I love that decision-making coming out from Quantum. You could go extra tanky with already Hercules and Sylvanus around. You say, hey, they have a Nemesis. She's going to hurt no matter what, but she's more effective against those tanky characters. So by grabbing Hyperionnn, Batz, and Janus, you have a lot of control without bending to the will of what TMNT for Lyfe are trying to do.
Also adding more mobility to the mix. Having this Janus is very important to get away from the Nemesis, putting a portal on the wall. So whoever is going to get ultimated by the Nemesis, all you have to do if you're on the side of the Janus players, just make sure you get that person out of danger.
That's what we're going to be looking for here. TMNT for Lyfe has a very similar draft to last time. They're looking to blow you up here, folks. Quantum Esports, on the other hand, a little bit more control-oriented. Stuns from the Hercules. You got Fear No Evil out of the Fear No Evil machine, Hyperionnn. And we're going to see some more stuff out of Janus. Sirduckbot looked really strong on the last control mage that he played, which was ISIS. I'm curious to see if he can do the same on the Janus this time around.
Surely he will do the same.
You're just one non-stop meme, Tolly.
I mean, if I'm not memeing, I'm smashing, apparently.
So now, normally is where I just take the conversation and I go, well, 10 minutes into the match, it's 5-4. But it's literally the game didn't start yet. You can't toss me off the deep end when I'm not even in the pool yard yet. That's just not fair. Joeeey here dealing with the 1-on-2. It's going to be Cabrakan support here. Very interesting take. Not exactly unheard of. We've seen it creep up more and more, but still the stranger position. More used to seeing Cabrakan wind up in the jungle and even the solo lane. So either way, Mr. Turtle will be playing the defensive Cabrakan.
It's not a bad idea to put Cabrakan in the support at level 1 because of the fact that if you're on the side of Quantum here, sure, the Mez will stop the Tremors, but you don't want to get Mez at level 1 just to stop the clear of Mr. Turtle. And obviously, DineOhSaw could elect to go for the pull, but then he's not going to have the root or the sustain options.
So a lot of options that you have to shut down the Cabrakan, but none that you actually want to take. TMNT are able to take out not just the purple buff, but also the red buff there. You can see Fly and Auzrik exiting the enemy jungle, but the same was done on the right side by Quantum. They head into the enemy jungle, and now we see, it's funny, you're seeing the opposite sides, players just kind of swapped around. There we go, everything right where it belongs.
It's just basically a line. You know how the line is usually cut horizontally usually, but this time around it's going to cut diagonally. Whatever's happening on the left is happening on the right. Similar to the game number 1. 50-meter fly going to take a little bit of poke for his trouble. used a lot of potions thus far.
Auzrik right here, level 3. I think his goal is to become effective a little bit earlier than he did last game. Now, at the end of the day, a Smite win, a win is a win. It doesn't matter, especially in Smite, where compositions are lopsided as far as when they come online and this, that, or a third. But if I'm Auzrik, listen, he was able to make an impact in the late game, but I still need to see that pushed up a little bit further. I'd like to see TMNT make a little bit more, make a couple more strides in this mid game, as opposed to just sort of waiting till it all ends and then really going for one big push.
Especially in the solo lane where Coach Killy, despite him being able to clear the way with that driving strike, that's his escape mechanic. And that could be an opportunity for Auzrik rotating in that solo lane to find a kill with that Nemesis ultimate before potentially Winged Blade, before potentially more health comes online for the Hercules, before the mitigate wounds gets higher level. And with the addition of Predator's X's ultimate with the Terra's Blessing, that's going to give more mobility for Auzrik because he's getting mobility off of the ultimate himself.
Herc is one of the best targets for a Nemesis player. You're sitting there because, like you said, as soon as the driving strike is done, the slows are strong, and sure, even if you have the Winged Blade, you can still keep up, and there's really nothing Herc can do. That mitigate wounds is nice, but once you have a couple of items under your belt as Nemesis, you're really dealing damage, especially after you strip those protections. So Coach Killy should be the target, at least for a little bit, for Auzrik here in the early game.
And Predators recognized that there was going to be a disadvantage in his lane, the Warrior versus Guardian matchup, usually favoring the Warrior in the earlier stages, picking up the mana chalice just to be able to stay in the lane, at least until level 5, allows him to still clear the wave effectively.
So how do you feel about these chalices? I think the jury's still out. They're a decent amount of gold, 300 to 400, depending on which chalice you're picking up here. The blue chalice is only about 300 gold, and it's going to give you mana pots every time you back to base. Now, you have the blue buff, but like you said, it's inevitably going to go ahead and get invaded if you're Terra, so that's what it's there for, to counteract that. But how efficient is it really?
I'm not a big fan of it because the fact that it doesn't help you in the early game right off the bat compared to some other items, and it's going to hurt a power spike item that you want to get, especially if you're trying to rush a Breastplate of Valor, for example. That 300 gold will hurt you in the long run. However, the later the game goes, the more value you're getting out of these chalices.
Mr. Turtle here trying to defend his buffs. There's the Fear No Evil on top of Predators out of Hyperionnn. Coach Killy stuck in the alcove, but there's going to be the kick out from him. There's a Kraken, and it's going to be damage enough to take down Killy. First blood for TMNT. Everybody surrounding Hyperionnn. Oh, he takes a bad teleport, and that's going to have him even more surrounded, Totally. Likely get out of here simply because TMNT are too hurt to continue the fight, even though Hyperionnn makes a misstep.
Just like that, the wombo combo of Nemesis, Poseidon taking a spill is Coach Killy, and the first blood getting credited to Auzrik. Last time around, it was Auzrik that got a little bit behind in the early game, but this time, this one kill is going to give him a little bit of a power spike play where he'll finish the Warrior Tabby before Hyperionnn. He'll have more mobility, make more rotations, and then look for more plays around the map.
Just a great play overall. Again, they went for the target that I called. The Hercules this early is certainly what you want to see. And again, the Nemesis and the Poseidon combination, you ult with the Nemesis, you drop the Whirlpool, you're not going anywhere.
And defensively for Quantum, they used that ultimate from Hyperionnn, the Fear No Evil, trying to kill Predators instead of trying to save Killy, as well as through space and time from Sirduckbot trying to find the kill onto the Terra that just popped that Terra's Blessing. Is not the easiest thing in the world considering she gets a huge boost of mobility. Having the mark of the Vanguard is also going to keep her alive for the most part with all the tick damage from the Fear No Evil.
Just a bunch of individuals playing the game, right? Not everybody on the same page, which is what we want to see. And what we're seeing out of TMNT, it looks like they're warmed up now. I think game number 1, players were still a little cold, but Auzrik certainly getting his start off nice and early, thanks to the help there. Going back to the Mana Chalice conversation, it's essentially six pots, right? 300 gold is going to be 6 blue pots.
Once you use more than 6 potions, then that's when the power spike happens from this item. You're getting more and more value. But the problem is, if you decide to sell it in the late game, you're getting zero gold return value.
Coach Killy right here, I mean, that's that.
That's what happens when you don't have Driving Strike after clearing the wave. He rotates back into the jungle without any real vision on his side of the map. And by the time he rotated there, it was just too late.
Yeah, and you saw everybody come out from underneath him instead of on top, which is where all that vision is. And, I mean, yeah, 4 players surround the Hercules at 6 minutes, Totally. There's not much to get excited about. It's just, yeah, that guy's dead. How often are you really popping 6 mana potions?
in the laning phase, in the early stages of the laning phase, not too often. Terra only needs 2 abilities to clear it out. You're going to be popping probably 1 potion every minute or so. So essentially, as long as your teleport is off of cooldown, you are getting value out of it, but at the same time, you're not going to be really able to rotate compared to the Hercules that's going to be able to control the lane by pushing really quickly and then rotating, unless the rotations happens to prevent that rotation.
And that's really a lot of rotations there, but I see where you're going. I'm following you, and that's really my point. That's why I was pushing this conversation so hard, because what's going to happen is Predators will be able to sustain and deal with this lane, but now, if he and Coach Killy were even without the ganks, and you can see just now hitting level 9, even with 2 ganks on the side of Coach Killy, Predator's still trailing a little bit. In a world where they're even, Coach Killy he's just going to have more items, even though he has, you know, and it's kind of problematic. Luckily for Predators, it's sort of the situation we're seeing right now, where everybody's starting Bluestone and Transcendence. It's a slow game, but it's a slow game on the other side. The enemy has a chalice as well, so it's all zeros.
Nice rotation from Auzrik, making sure Hyperionnn wouldn't make a true statement here. It did bait out the ultimate from Sirduckbot through space and time. Not going to be able to use defensively if things turn south here, but with 4-on-4 on the right, it's going to be a dive on the left.
Yeah, it's Welshbeastq going deep, looking for Joeeey. Or Joeeey trying to take out Welshbeastq. Either way, neither player is relatively safe.
It was a nice dive, though, because the fact that we see Welshbeastq push the wave first under the tower, and this whole little tactic that Welshbeastq did by jumping over the wall is just a delayed tactic to prevent Joeeey from finding the last hits onto these minions under the tower. It bought enough time for the tower to find all the hits, denying more and more gold on that hunter.
Just the small distractions here. TMNT looking for the vision, and they'll trade out. So no vision on there. Brought to you by the Oracles. Either way, TMNT still with a little bit of the lead as far as the kills are concerned, but as an educated Smite viewer, you know that the kills don't matter. It's all about the gold and the experience to a lesser extent, depending on how analytical you want to be, I guess. But it's a tie game here, totally.
Quantum has been doing a good job experience-wise, despite having those deaths onto Coach Killy. The fact that there was 4 members rotating constantly to find those kills, and as a result, they're given a farm on opposite sides of the map.
Right now, TMNT for Lyfe have a little bit of a lead compared to where they were at last time around. Not above their opposition, but above themselves if you're time trialing. Where does TMNT go right now? Because again, they have a relatively mid-game composition, but now they're boosted by some Guardian play in the short lane. Where do you want to see TMNT for Lyfe make some plays? They're not exactly the ISIS team of last game, where they can just snap the Gold Fury.
Considering how they won the last game with Nemesis and Poseidon in the later stages of the game, it's all about the patience from them, or trying to find people out of position just like that. DineOhSaw gets caught in that Cabrakan ultimate being paired up here with Auzrik. Still, the Kraken is available for Fly if he elects to use it here.
The chase for Joeeey ends in the left side lane, and the Kraken comes out trying to save
alive.
the mid laner, and he works! 50-meter fly with a hair of HP, survives. Welshbeastq jumps right on top, and Hyperion's able to make 50-meter fly eat dirt.
He died to the archers. Hyperionnn still had aggro from the grave, and that's getting credit to Killy, though, making the rotation. The beautiful pillar is not enough.
Play.
Nice pull as well, finding 2, trying to set up Joeeey here. The dash is going to boost up, but a stun is going to get negated here by the purification beads.
Coach Killy still on the chase to Mr. Turtle, barely alive, and he's likely to find a way out here. He died to archers, man.
Yeah, he survived with 1% health. He went back into the wave, died to archers.
He died to archers.
I don't know if he threw out a whirlpool, and that probably got aggro as he kept going north back into the wave, because there was 3 archers versus 3 archers on both sides in that lane still.
And I think there was a little bit of separation between the waves, and as he walked up, he was just closer than the other archers.
That could have been it.
You know, 1 or 2 basics, and in that situation, you're sitting there, you're just saying, no, please.
It's not the first time, and it certainly won't be the last that that's happened to a Smite player, whether it's the SPL, the SCL. These little sets of circumstances is always sometimes out of your control, because you can force a team fight, but the timing of the team fight is very all relative, because depending if it's 12-15 versus 12-30, the mid wave will hit at 12-15, but the side lane waves are going to hit at 12-30, so that's the most important different factor.
Really crunching the numbers right there. Portal Demon early on going to be aggressed on here. 11.5 on the clock. This time around, the Kraken comes out and just hits DineOhSaw for a zillion. He's at 10% HP. There's the turnaround. Hyperionnn takes out the jungler. Damage still going onto DineOhSaw. Still alive for the moment. Predator's going to find the kill. Great dash through, taking out the support. Now everybody's going to turn their sights onto the Hun Batz, who falls to the hand of Mr. Turtle. That'll be the first kill for the support Cabrakan on the side of TMNT. They lead 7-4. The gold, however, in Quantum's favor by a fair amount. Almost 2,000 gold.
Nice ultimate from Sirduckbot to start things off, but it was a great counter ult from Fly. It disrupted DineOhSaw from getting through that portal right off the bat to be able to put himself in a position where he wanted to get the most optimal Wrath of Terror. And surprisingly enough, during that whole encounter, after the 2-for-1 favoring TMNT, the Fire Giant was just left silent the whole time. None of those AoE hit the Giant and basically kept sleeping.
Very, I wonder if just accidentally that nobody hit the Fire Giant, or if everybody's just too afraid. Because those meatballs start to hurt, and then the knockup is what ruins your team fight.
And that was very close encounter to that objective, the Portal Demon having its fall there. And surprisingly enough, either way, Welshbeastq now level 14 with a 1 level advantage over Joeeey. He played the Medusa last game, still doing a good job on the Anhur here, electing to negate the lifesteal here in the form of Devo Gloves, going for more of a physical power with the Transcendence, synergizing with his abilities. And on top of this, now going for Fatalis, making sure he can get in and out of action whenever he really wants to.
Yeah, he wants to stay absolutely mobile here in the game, as he's going to be coming into, he's going to be really hitting his stride here very soon. Anhur, definitely one of the mid-game hunters, rather, just like a Medusa.
Definitely having a lot of ability power, as well as in-hands with the passive here. Less mobility than Medusa, because whenever she moves sideways, she has no movement penalties, but whenever she moves backwards, about 50%, whereas Anhur, he has more damage on his in-hands. After he applies one hit, he applies a debuff on you, reducing your physical protections by 20.
Grouping them here in the mid lane is going to be TMNT for Lyfe. And they're going to be defending against DineOhSaw, Coach Killy, and Sirduckbot. Coach Killy, his dash is already on cooldown.
He did that on purpose, trying to get in position to be able to pull somebody out of that tier 1 tower, even using the mitigate wounds just to proc his shield of regrowth, getting even boosted movement speed.
Still not going to be able to find the target, however. Predator's guesses incorrectly with stun. This time he's going to hit the root. Can't miss that one. Coach Killy just stayed still for a moment, however. Not enough for TMNT to go ahead and capitalize. Hyperionnn level 13, 2 levels up above Auzrik right now. Is that a gap to be worried about?
Well, compared to the last game, I still have no qualms for Auzrik being down. Now only 1 level, as he just hits level 12 here. Still has the Jotun's Wrath for the cooldowns available just to spam that ultimate. It's all about how TMNT utilized the ultimate out of Auzrik. He needs to be relatively close to 50-meter fly, and Mr. Turtle trying to find somebody that's going to be out of position, whether it's going to be DineOhSaw that has no natural escape, or whether it's going to be Coach Killy that's Driving Strike is not available.
Oracles this time around go to TMNT for Lyfe, who have had pretty good control of the neutral objectives this time around. Very different story from last time. Predators right now gets controlled by Hyperionnn. Nice stun to stick the monkey right in the ground. Predators dancing and dashing. That meditation's gonna help a little bit, and help for the mid lane and the mid laner. Well, it's just a mid lane. 50-meter fly responds. Predator's barely alive, and he's going to get out of there. Great play coming out from 50-meter fly on the Poseidon.
Great play from Predator, surviving, juking and weaving, timing his escape just long enough to be able to proc that meditation at the last moment. And this is what happens when you have 50-meter fly not paired up with Auzrik. That Kraken did a lot of damage, but imagine that was paired up with Ozrik's ultimate.
Either way, here comes help on a Hyperionnn. Dash forward is Auzrik. Can't find the kill. TMNT for Lyfe have to walk away empty-handed. Rough stuff.
Still finding the pull onto Mr. Turtle, but not going to engage that. But Welshbeastq definitely engaging against Joeeey. He's not missing a single in-hand, throwing out the ultimate, forcing out the Aegis. Both of these players does have the Fatalis, but that slow is so powerful.
Money. Just money. Welshbeastq just looking like the bank man right there. 100% accuracy, just fantastic. Finally starts to miss some basics, decides to launch the ultimate.
He's definitely not a gentleman.
Money, just all the way right there, taking him all the way home. Welshbeastq
He's not done yet. He jumps over, finding the stun onto Hyperionnn, jumping over the wall, but 50-meter fly is waiting for him right around the corner. Not enough mana to use the whole kit of the Poseidon, though.
Coach Killy finds safety underneath his tower. I'm still on that Welshbeastq play. That's how you solo somebody. You just run them down and cut them down. TMNT now pushing in the mid lane, looking for the Phoenix. 5-man ultimate from DineOhSaw. And he's going to actually take more damage. And look who it is. It's Welshbeastq. In the sky is going to be Joeeey trying to find kills on the backside, but he can't. Hyperionnn with a beautiful ultimate, sets himself up, sets his hunter up. That'll be 2 dead on the side of TMNT. Trouble for Predators, but he dashes through and grabs 3 players with the root.
Hyperionnn, oh, the ticks almost took out the jungler. Oh, that would have been a nice kill for Predators. A great play from Quantum, sacrificing the life out of DineOhSaw. Despite the Wrath of Terror not connecting onto any kills, it still did enough damage for the rest of his team to clean up. Great counterplay from Mr. Turtle, locking in that Sylvanus out of position, finding the pick. But either way, Quantum got what they came for. They defend their tier 1 tower, they find the picks in their advantage, and they get the tier 1 tower out of TMNT.
Yeah, I mean, that team fight, I guess technically goes to Quantum, but that team fight on the surface goes to TMNT because it's Quantum, because they lose 1 versus TMNT losing 2. And then Quantum pushes that even further by defending, like you said, and then taking out the tier 1. That's rough. Here comes Sirduckbot and friends through the portal, thinking that the opposition was going for the portal demon, but that ultimate pushes them off of any thoughts of anything near the fire giant.
50-meter fly, taking a little bit of a bite out of that ultimate, having to retreat, wait for the monolith out of Predators just to be able to sustain him back up. The portal demon still being flirted with around the corner for TMNT, but not electing to pull it quite yet. They do have the vision that they really need, but instead not biting the trigger quite yet.
And not quite yet. Sitting comfortably on almost a 2,000 gold lead is Quantum. Although I shouldn't say too comfortably, because TMNT for Lyfe certainly biting at their ankles, trying to get that lead themselves. 6 to 9 are our kills here. TMNT for Lyfe certainly want to find themselves swapping positions to take that lead, but not quite just yet. Right now, Auzrik and 50-meter fly have been relatively successful, but they need to find more success. 50-meter
fly still at the top of the player damage compared to the last game. He's been doing a great job being paired up with Auzrik. This is what you want to have between your jungle and mid synergy. Just be able to hold hands throughout the entirety of the game, especially with these ultimates that synergize so beautifully together. Welshbeastq is not done yet.
He jumps on top of Joeeey, who's ready for it this time. Doesn't really do anything to react to it, but doesn't get impaled. That's the most important. Now Duckbot's trying to punish Welshbeastq, but Welsh dances around the vortex, misses the impale. Here comes Joeeey. Ultimate out of the Anhur. Is it enough to save his life? He gets dashed forward. Nice knockup, and DineOhSaw takes out the Hunter. Auzrik now here, and 50-meter fly, making it count. Duckbot goes down to the hand of the Kraken. Here's a great ultimate out of support, Mr. Turtle, and Joeeey likely to fall, but Auzrik dashes in the other direction, finally smokes him out. That's a death of the Hunter. Blink forward, fear no evil backline. 50-meter fly able to deal with the jungler. He'll dance around on the backside, jump forward from Hyperionnn, and Quantum's rotation looks to be poor, but it's Coach Killy, and Auzrik takes the kill.
Finally finding the advantage is TMNT, 3 for 1. Welshbeastq was a little too aggressive, but the rest of his teammates took advantage of this. Duckbot's ultimate was used, and they couldn't use it defensively to be able to get out of danger. Coach Killy trying to defend the tier 1 tower by himself. Hyperionnn wanted nothing to do with that one.
Coach Killy got melted.
It was 5-on-1.
He's got boots, he's got shield of regrowth, and a breastplate of valor.
No magical defense.
And that's the problem. When you're just getting Kraken every other minute, you got to start thinking about changing that up. Look at that Nemesis chunk. All she's got is 3 items, and she's eating that mid laner for dinner.
Hyperionnn being able to use that beads away from the whirlpool,
Bang.
but can't get away from the stun just like that. Finding another 2 picks after that 3 originally makes this an unofficial deicide. Tier 1 and 2 does fall. The ultimate from Duckbot has been used, trying to cut the distance to allow his team to maybe take the portals and get some movement speed, but not going to elect to chase that down. Welshbeastq goes to the right-hand side after the respawn, trying to get more farm.
You know, it's fun watching this Nemesis play here because game 1, we saw what happens when Nemesis falls behind. Just build CDR and become an ult bot, and 50-meter fly is the one that gets all the glory, right? I ulted, but the Kraken hit him for 2,000 thanks to my ultimate, but I guess I'll take an assist. Here in this game, he gets a nice lead, and now it's him dealing the damage, picking up the Executioner after the Winged Blade, and you're seeing just what a Nemesis can do once she starts getting items online.
And Auzrik was able to get that lead because of the pressure that he applied in the solo lane to Killy. Killy has been getting the worser end of things, and despite him going Shield of Regrowth and Breastplate of Valor, that's technically an offensive build that's being defensive rather, because he also builds into the Sunder. With or without the Kraken, he has no magical defense to deal with the Whirlpool, to deal with the Trident out of Poseidon. The Tidal Surge is going to be dealing a lot of damage as well, and this Hercules is struggling now with his 4th death.
So Portal Demon versus Gold Fury. I think the Gold Fury wins out as far as objectives that you want to take. But Fire Giant versus Gold Fury. FG wins every day of the week. It goes to TMNT for Lyfe, and Quantum just a hair too late to the party one more time. TMNT chasing him down. Support very low. DineOhSaw finds the portal. Great help from Sirduckbot. Joeeey's running away from Auzrik. He's going to deal. Nice shield. And the Aegis saves him for the moment. But he still gets hit by Mr. Turtle. DineOhSaw low. Auzrik looking for him. Slowed down by Duckbot, but still, one more time, cut him down. Welshbeastq gets the kill. 17-7. TMNT for Lyfe leading only by 2,000, but the momentum feels like it's so much more in their favor.
Winning that team fight without the Kraken from 50-meter fly, as it was used to secure that Fire Giant objective, which was very necessary out of TMNT, considering that Quantum used 2 global ultimates from Joeeey and Sirduckbot just to be able to travel from that Gold Fury back into the Fire Giant side, but it was just unfortunately too late for Quantum. However, Hyperionnn has gotten the tier 2 tower mid. He's trying to get this Phoenix as well.
And he's just about done it. Still alive, just barely. Poseidon pushes him off his target. Hyperionnn is still, he's actually going to fall here in a 50-meter fly. I think that's unacceptable. If you die after you take the Phoenix, that's totally fine. And if you're, I would have liked to see the commitment to the Phoenix. If you're going to die, commit to the objective anyway.
He still had the purification beats to be able to jump over the Whirlpool Kraken if that was available for 50-meter fly, and he elected not to do that at all. Instead, trying to take the 1v1 fight outside of the Phoenix. The ultimate out of Hyperionnn was expended trying to find the kill, but the purification beats was still available for Fly. Nobody applied enough pressure onto him in that last Fire Giant fight to be able to force that relic.
We saw that earlier this week in a match where the player goes for the split push on the Phoenix and then takes the fight after the fact. That kill is never as important as the Phoenix. You're gonna die either way. Very rough stuff. Another
Great
portal
knockup from DineOhSaw. The body block from Welshbeastq was good enough, but because of the knockup, just squeezed right under there to be able to take that one right under safety. However, still having 5 members with Fire Giant is TMNT. The tier 2 tower in the mid lane could not be stopped by Quantum.
You know, I was actually going to give credit to Hyperionnn. I wanted to really tip my hat towards him because in that defensive set on the right side, what is a Hun Batz without the ultimate going to do, really? You toss out a monkey, an overhand smash, maybe clip somebody, but you walk too far out of position, you're rooted, you're Auzrik, you're hit by a Kraken, and you're just dead. So the fact with Fear No Evil down, I like the fact that Hyperionnn opted for the split push because his contribution to the team fight is going to be next to nothing, if there at all. Like I said, I would have loved to see the commitment to the Phoenix. Either way, the thought process was right from Hyperionnn in step 1. Step 2 and step 3 needs a little bit of refinement. Quantum here find themselves on the right side. Fire Giant still on for about another minute. They've got to defend against TMNT's push, which looks like it's going to be shady here on the right side.
Terra's Blessing being used, double stun onto Hyperionnn. The judgment from Auzrik is there. The meditation from DineOhSaw trying to keep his jungler alive for the moment. Defensive Fear No Evil, but it's not enough. Welshbeastq credited with that one.
Tried so hard to hold on to that ultimate, Tully just couldn't do so. Last moment drops it for no effect. Coach Killy being chased. The Phoenix is already down though, folks. TMNT fighting on this right side doesn't really earn them anything. They need to find these kills.
Killy barely able to escape with that one despite the Cabrakan ultimate. Everyone from TMNT not wanting to commit to this Titan quite yet. They still have Fire Giant for another 18 seconds. They want to try to get this mid Phoenix here.
And this is the right call. They're going to bring it down to about a quarter of HP. That Kraken is going to be strong, bringing Coach Killy down to 0. Auzrik helps him out right there, trying to find the kill. Welshbeastq, that'll be number 7 for him. And Auzrik falls into the hole thanks to Sirduckbot. Low is the Nemesis player, barely getting out of trouble.
She's fast though. She's able to skirt her way around that right side Phoenix that is down. Left side has been taken as well. All three Phoenixes down for Quantum, and TMNT are in the driver's seat. I wouldn't push here without the Fire Giant. Hyperionnn does blink in the backline, taking out Welshbeastq.
Now that's the application that he's gonna have a successful result out of. Needs to drop that ultimate. Duckbot tries to show up, taking out Predators, but he wiggles away from the Vortex. No push here. It's TMNT for Lyfe hit Blackjack. They're gonna go ahead and back to base. 8-21. TMNT for Lyfe have a couple of structures. They've got a couple of Phoenixes. Quantum, they got nothing. They're down 7,000 gold here. Certainly a lead that they can fight into. It's not a terrible death sentence just yet, but where does Quantum actually find the strength to fight, assuming they defend this Phoenix on the right?
The timing is very imperative for Quantum to try to defend this Fire Giant. The 7,000 gold lead, like you mentioned, is not really that big of a deal at the 27-minute mark, but they can't leave their base. All three lanes are going to have Fire Giant minions. The right side Phoenix has respawned, but there's still about 1 or 2 waves that they do have to deal with before they leave the right side.
They're nicely pushed up. I think this is enough room for the players to go and defend the Fire Giant, but they're just sitting. The waves are already pushed up. Totally, the Fire Giant's at half HP. Quantum can't make it there.
No, not at all.
They did the homework. They just didn't hand it in.
No. They didn't have the vision as well to be able to really
You gotta
see.
know. You gotta know.
They knew that it was happening, but in order to get there, they would have to invest Sirduckbot's ultimate, have a 5-man commitment, and if that team fight goes south, let's say they do get there in time and the Fire Giant's already taken, TMNT just run at you, you have no ultimate to be able to escape.
We'll see how this defense goes before I make my next statement. DineOhSaw is gone before the team fight even starts. Welshbeastq gets credit for that one. TMNT, Fire Giant in hand. Welshbeastq gets credit for Joeeey. Still pushing on the right-hand side. Jumped over the top. Coach Killy knocked up. Push forward, and 50-meter fly gets the kill off of the assist of Welshbeastq. TMNT for Lyfe gonna filter in here, totally, and take down the Titan. 2-0 above Quantum. Here was my comment before. You full commit to that Fire Giant because you push the waves up enough so that they're able to really make the impact. You're able to leave your base successfully. The Fire Giant you full commit to because either you lose the team fight there or you lose the team fight here. Either way, it's game over. I would have liked to see I'm gonna use a hockey phrase, the pulling of the goalie. Just all out, try to stop it. You ult there with Duckbot, you try to take that team fight. If you win that team fight, you don't win the game, but you don't lose the game. If you lose the team fight, whether it's at Fire Giant or your Phoenix, you lose the game. So I would have liked to see some all-out defense, but not quite going to be today. Instead, Quantum lose their second game in a row. It's 0-2 in favor of TMNT.
I would agree with you on the last play. Had they had vision of the Fire Giant to be able to time the ultimate in a timely fashion, as well as position it correctly, because even though you know necessarily the Fire Giant where exactly it is, sometimes you don't always want to go directly at the Fire Giant. You might want to go a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right, depending on the set of circumstances. So either way, though, Quantum, they fall behind a little bit in the second game, unfortunately, taking that spill, and TMNT get that win.
Game number 1 was a nice split down the middle, though. I really enjoyed watching that one. And towards the end, we obviously saw Auzrik in 50-meter fly do a lot of the work. Welshbeastq was just kind of the petrified man. Here, they give him the Anhur, the fighter. And this guy absolutely was the king of the lane, the jungle, the game. 50-meter fly gets credit for that off of Welshbeastq's majority damage. Now chasing down Joeeey, winds up with another chase down and eventually the kill.
He just has no fear whatsoever. He's able to dive whenever he really wants to, choosing whatever target is out of position. And on top of this, later on, once he does finish the fatalities, he just basically man fights Joeeey, no problem, by himself.
Love this one.
3,
Look how
4,
money.
5 in-hands connect before finally using the ultimate to bait the Aegis, and then the important slow catching up. 7 in-hands and a few Desert Fury ticks is all it took.
It's just, there's nowhere for Joeeey to go. Oh, I love that chase down. Here, through traffic, finds the impale for the stun. Auzrik cleans up the kill, finds a kill of his own, and then still continuing, gets hit a little bit by the mid laner, backs off, and then the final push here on the left side. Welshbeastq just knows. Again, Auzrik, he points at a guy, and then Welshbeastq and everybody else just fire at will, fire at will, fire at will, and that guy happens to be Will, so he goes down. That's
a scary hunter if you're on the European console scene to be able to deal with. And not only that, if they qualify to the LAN, North Americans better watch out for him as well.
I'm excited because, listen, I'm not going to lie. It used to just be Rivals Playground here in the European console scene. Now, TMNT is very real. And there's going to be 2 contenders that you absolutely have to worry about. Duckbot and his squad still on the up and up as well. We've got another match of European console coming at you. Stay tuned. Will be more on hi-rez TV.